All right, 2 o'clock on the dot. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Welcome to our latest community update. Keep in mind we are doing these on a fairly regular basis. Obviously, we want to keep the community informed. This will be the second one in a row that we're doing here in the Discord, just because, as mentioned previously, David and Dan are traveling for the entirety of March, which means they haven't had time to record a community update video that we have typically done. But most of the updates I think you're looking for, Mitch can answer, so we're in good hands. Everything said here is just for community update purposes and not financial advice. And that said, I'm Alex from Marketing, and I'm joined today by Ecomi Everyman, Rhys, Skellern, and VeVe Product Director Mitch Mack. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing well.
I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
How are you, Alex?
It's been, well, I'm doing okay. I just getting over a cold, which is a great cherry on top of a Sunday that has been, let's say, unappetizing for this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes,
that's empowering through it. So please forgive me if I do have to take a cough interlude or put myself on mute to sneeze. Don't want to gross anybody out here, but I am sipping on my tea, and we should be good to go. All right. Obviously, lots going on this week. This, you really kind of wake up on a Monday morning and it's like you can really go get them this week, right? And then kind of wake up to a bit of a storm of sorts.
Yes.
Obviously, we are well aware of conversation and sentiment in the community, and we do want to touch on that briefly, just to make sure that everybody's aware that they're being heard, and we're working towards resolution on a number of fronts, right? But that said, we do have some pretty good updates today that I think you'll be looking forward to. First of all, as mentioned, David and Dan have been traveling. David, in particular, I believe is in, I don't know, somewhere where it's really too late for him to join today. But he did send me some talking points that I do want to read for you here, just to start and kind of get things out of the way, because I know there's a lot of people across all of our posts, whether it be drop related or so I'm just going to read this statement, and then we can move on to the meat of the community update today. All right, imagine David speaking here.
I was going to say, is this going to be a Kiwi accent that you put on? Or?
It is not. I will not do any accents, for my own sanity, just to keep employed.
Please don't. You might get cancelled.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Hey there, VeVe fam. Sorry it's been a while since we've spoken. Dan and I have been living out of suitcases as we've been traveling all over the world to promote the platform and work to bring new licensors, partners, and collectibles to the platform. Despite the busy schedule, I wanted to address a concern I've seen voiced in our social spaces. Recently, one of our VeVe collectors contacted us directly to inquire about the potential of acquiring a large number of comics and collectibles, including some of the held quantities. It's common knowledge for our users that of the digital collectibles and comics we license, create, and produce, a certain number of editions are held back and retained by our company. Different elements impact that total number held, to include licensor and contractual obligations and our own promotional and archival needs, as the company that creates and distributes these products. This was an unprecedented event, but we determined the fair cost for such a sale and the transaction plus trade was completed off app because it included some withheld editions and the amount was too large to be done by loading the needed gems via bank or credit card. Ultimately, here at VeVe, we are in the business of connecting global collectors with the collectibles and comics they know and love. But we understand by user feedback that perhaps this transaction was made in haste. As such, we are working to establish a more transparent and intuitive way to broker sales of this nature moving forward. All of this being said, we hear your frustration and we understand your confusion. I come from a physical collectible sales background where these large-scale sales are something that I'm very familiar with, and I didn't realize the backlash the backlash at direct-to-consumer sale would incite. The communication could have been better, and we will take this as a learning opportunity for the future. As always, here at VeVe, our collectors are the heart of the decisions we make. We will continue to evolve, improve, and change the way the world collects globally. Big things are coming for VeVe, and we are excited to continue sharing our vision for digital collecting future with all of you. Okay, so that's straight from the man himself, David Yu. Nothing really more needs to be said on that subject, other than, yes, communication could have been better, needs to be better moving forward. That was a deal brokered by the man himself, who was used to doing things like that, and I've seen him do things like that in the physical realm. And where he goes in and he buys out an entire store of inventory, essentially. And I think it was just probably exciting for him, and that's basically where that's coming from. So I will continue to press on the communication front anytime I get wind of those types of things, when I get wind of those types of things happening, but know that we are looking towards moving forward in a positive manner here. Okay.
Absolutely. Just one quick note there, because there seems to be some confusion. People are under the impression some of these collectibles were sub 40 mints.
Oh, right.
So just in case, just want to make that very known that there was no sub 40 mints. Nothing has changed on that front.
Right. No sub 40 mints. And though I do believe, I think there were some non-public comic mints, or at least previously available comic mints. There were no sub 40 collectible mints. So, anybody asking to buy like the number 2 Todd, like that's not those deals aren't ever going to be entertained. So moving on. All right. So we had a bit of a platinum moments situation this morning, but happy to report that immediately before this, we have resolved the redemption mechanism. And just to quickly explain, obviously there was an issue with the mechanism itself, in that we noticed a couple of sub 40s were redeemed of the posters. It's obviously a mistake. We didn't intend for that to happen. So what we have done is we fixed the glitch, and we now have re-enabled the poster redemptions via the magical transformational potion. So that let me answer a few questions, ongoing questions that we have had about how that all is shaking out, that mechanism. There is the mint numbers of the posters are all 1923, right? So you have 4 weeks to redeem those posters with the potion based on the corresponding Platinum Moments collectible. And unredeemed posters will be burnt. The mint numbers do not match the posters or the collectible number, in that there's only 1923, so they couldn't possibly match, right? So I think that pretty much goes for that. Any other questions you have or concerns that you need me to bring up on this front, Mitch?
No, not particularly. I think I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Like, I probably, this is probably my bad in terms of the small glitch there. I kind of missed the requirement slightly on that front, but we are trying to do the best that we can and ensure that the rollout is of high quality. And in this case, we just kind of made a mistake on that front. So apologies for that, guys.
Okay, well, thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that. But I also maybe don't try to keep me so on my toes on the early Wednesday morning.
Oh, I mean, like I was I was asleep.
Yeah.
My phone started going off, and I'm like, something's not right. So we jumped on it as soon as we can, as soon as we could.
Definitely. I appreciate the quick action. Just one more thing of note. I know there were questions about where you can follow to see how many of the posters would be redeemed. I've talked internally with the team that I will be providing, or we will be providing regular updates on Twitter as kind of an update on how many of each of the poster editions have been redeemed. Just so you can make a more informed decision as it gets closer to uncapping deadline. right? Okay. All right. Well, that kind of walks through this morning's glitches. Oh, just sorry. One other thing. There was a server-side error on rendering profile photos in the market listings for certain profiles. But if you click through, you could still see the photo. That was just purely a server-side error. I know I don't typically like to address conspiracy theories, but there was quite the narrative floating out there, and let's just maybe not get ahead of ourselves when certain things like that happen. When there was a glitch overall with the drop, I think that was just a byproduct. So that issue has been resolved, and you should be able to see profile photos in the market listings once again. So appreciate your patience on that. Okay, let's get to the good stuff, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this is exciting, given that this is one time I'm excited that Dan's not here and that I can share good news for him. I always like to get a little bit of the spotlight here every once and again. Let's talk a little bit about VeVeverse. All right. So, as you may have noticed, we're coming to the end of Q2. And we had stated in November at DCon that we will be rolling out the first phase of beta at the end of Q2. We are on track now to do this by mid-April, which isn't too far behind the original quote. As you know, these are never deadlines or promises, or more, to quote Rhys, guidelines as our end target dates of when we are aiming for this. But the initial beta group has been identified. Invites will be sent via email to this initial group by mid-April, and subsequent groups will be invited as we monitor progress and iron out any potential bugs or issues. We are aiming to for all to access the VeVeverse to be extended across Q2. So just as a reminder, this is a massive project. We're very excited about it. There's a lot of moving parts on this, and will require a fair amount of testing time, so we appreciate your patience. But know that from what we've seen and looking at everything so far, we continue to make great strides, not only here, but across all of our roadmap as it pertains to the VeVeverse. So once again, initial beta group identified, invites sent in the coming weeks, mid-April. And then we'll start to kind of systematically roll it out to more and more people, and hopefully we will have access extended to users across Q2. Okay, Mitch.
Can I just add a couple more things in here?
Yep.
So just to give you guys an idea, we were trying for the end of Q1, but as we started to get closer to the deadline, it became quite clear that we just have a little additional things that we needed to get done and get done properly. So there's about 27,000 collectibles that have already been integrated across the board to the new system as well. So we're slowly trying to extend that nicely and methodically. And overall, we think it's going to be a very interesting next few weeks. When we actually get the initial user group in there and let them play around. As it pertains to access, it's going to be extended in a controlled manner right across Q2. So expect our usual approach to this. We want to make sure that things work. We want to slowly assess what is happening. So as Alex said before, it's really just taking strides and taking one step at a time and just getting it where it needs to be.
Yeah. And quickly, my apologies. I believe I said erroneously said Q2 at the top. I meant we had originally said Q1. We are coming up.
How dare you?
Q1. We're extending this it'll dip into Q2 as far as first beta access. So my apologies. Initial beta group mid-April, which is slightly behind end of Q1.
And just maybe a quick reminder there that there is an article on the VeVe blog about how we roll these features out and these integrations in terms of batching users and beta testing. So please be reminded that on that note, if we do discover bugs or some sort of issue, we will pause the rollout until they are resolved, and then we'll resume again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the feature rollout process article that we share often when we have new updates to share. And I believe we do have another update to share, hopefully soon. But let's get into that. Actually, product updates with Mitch. Before we get into all of your things, Mitch, I just want to remind people that the deadline is approaching to apply for merge accounts. We've had successful use cases, and we've been trying to help people through that have had problems doing the actual merge via the support tickets, but all has been going well to date thus far, and we look forward to continuing to getting everybody who needs to merge their accounts into one. Please check the article on the blog. The form must be submitted within the blog article. There's a form linked that you must submit before 30th of April. And that's essentially 30 days from now, 31 days from now. Okay. Let's move into updates on Master Collector Program.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So before I go into MCP, I just want to talk about the beta process overall first, right? So it's everyone kind of understands right now. We're in beta for MCP. We have been in beta for the last couple of weeks. We're sitting close to around 20,000 people now on MCP itself on the beta. We are aware of the various shenanigans that are happening with the calculations and all the funky stuff that everyone's been posting. So thank you very, very much for that. It's been a massive help for us to be able to kind of figure out like what's been happening and why. So I just wanted to preface that right from the get-go, because I think everyone needs to kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with in the background. You know, the databases are quite large. They are retrospective in nature. So there's 2 years worth of data for us to kind of churn through and work ourselves through it. And it's not always going to be 100% on the dot, because I know quite a few of you have little spreadsheets on the side that have been calculating your own points. For us, it's really about making sure that we get as close an accuracy rate as possible. So there's 2 fronts there. One is your total MCP points, and the second one is your daily accumulation points that we're working on right now. So despite the shenanigans on the machine front and on the accuracy front, what we are going to try and do is we're going to try and get a little bit more aggressive with this in the coming weeks. And we are probably going to start getting more people involved and extending that beyond the 20,000 test groups, because our intention is to actually get it in the hands of the VeVe fam itself and have those points start rolling through, because our battles with the machines and the various things that are happening within the machines will always be ongoing. And what you can expect with the calculations is that, you know, it does take time to calibrate once you've been given access. That's the first thing. So expect it to be kind of always rolling through. But while we are kind of extending it out to everyone, we will also be making ongoing adjustments and tweaks to the entire program right across the user base, but also well beyond what this beta program might look like, right? So it will be ongoing, just like our battle with anything else that is consistently evolving. Our MCP program is going to be, we're going to get a little bit more aggressive with it, and we're going to start getting it in the hands of users, but expect that we will be making tweaks across. So if you notice changes coming through your daily active points, if you've noticed adjustments coming through your total points and you feel it's not correct, what we will do is we'll also set up a little bit of a process for you to report these things coming through in the coming weeks, so that we can at least have a running record of what is accurate and what is not.
Great. Okay, so that said, there have been some updates to, there will be some updates to the article. Rhys, do you want to speak a little bit on this? Oh, and just by the way, I want to say shout out to everybody who's here. I just noticed there's 679 people in the audience, which is great. Thank you all for coming to the Discord. In fact, if you stick around to the end, we will have, we'll throw up a giveaway bot in the live event chat, and we'll give you a chance to win one of 5 prizes, and I'll let you know what that prize is later on in the show. But before then, Rhys, can you talk to us a little bit about how we're updating the article and to reflect, some of the charts in terms of levels and ranks, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably more a request that we got after we released the OUP as a Notion portal, because it makes it quite easy to navigate a lot of that information. So at the moment, the current MCP article is live on the VeVe blog. However, we are bringing obviously the MCP and the OUP together into one holistic loyalty program. And we've broken that all down into its own Notion portal as well that we will release in the next few days, I would think. So that has all the information that you already have in the MCP, and you'll be able to see how both systems are now going to work together to create this loyalty program and which features come together. Now, I will preface that by saying I've written this to be much more simple than the OUP. I know a lot of the feedback we received after that was that it was quite complicated, and I don't know how many people actually made it through the whole thing and connected all the dots. So this is definitely written more in a more simple nature. And then you can obviously go and reference the OUP and those documents if you want to dive further into the details. But this should make it a bit easier to understand there. The second thing I have seen a fair bit since we started rolling out the MCP is just a general question or confusion about how many ranks and how many levels there are. So there is 100 levels total, and we have 22 ranks, and you've probably seen maybe a good mix of them out there. So everybody begins at the starter rank. And then we basically have, 5 classes. So bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond. And within each of those, there's bronze 1, 2, 3, 4, silver 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to diamond. And then obviously the highest rank is master collector there. So I think they were probably the two main points that people had brought up. But really looking forward to releasing this and collecting everybody's feedback and making sure that we're crafting a loyalty program that is fun first and foremost and effective and frankly incentivizes people to continue enjoying the collectibles experience. Did you want to add anything there, Mitch, before we?
No, that's absolutely accurate.
Yep.
No, sorry, we're just a bit slow on the documentation. It's not Rhys's fault. It's probably mine as well, because we've been kind of busy just fighting with machines in the background. So we'll try and get this out to you as quickly as possible so that it's public and everyone can kind of read it and understand what's going on.
Yep, and then we'll come back together and talk about it and make sure that it's clear. As I said, this should be much easier to understand than the Omi utility program documentation. Yeah. But please let me know if it's not, and I'll continue to update it until it is.
Mitch, do you want to touch on maybe just one or two of the key updates to the Master Collector program ahead of the article, just so we can make sure that it's clear?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rhys, I'll bounce. We'll bounce back and forth on this one, right? Because it's actually a joint effort overall. So very early on when I came into VeVe, I looked at both the MCP and the OUP program, and I liked, as much as I loved both of them, I did feel that they were quite disparate and they were kind of separate programs for MCP versus OUP. So what we've done over the last few weeks was we've put in quite a bit of effort into kind of looking at these two programs as a whole and looking at how they could be brought together to achieve a degree of synergy, right, between the OMI program and the Master Collector program. So what we're going to do from here on out is when that article is released, we will probably be, what you will find is that we have articulated a pathway that combines MCP and OUP together to create what we would call just a loyalty program. If we had a meme for this, we would use a fusion type meme, but I'm not going to say which fusion type meme we're going to use because I've done that once on Twitter and it's I've been warned that it could set different precedents for people. It didn't end well. So basically, we're trying to fuse the two together, right? Fundamentally, because we believe that all collectors should be rewarded right across the board, and it really shouldn't matter whether you're more OMI inclined or you're actually just more interested in collecting the collectibles overall. So bringing the two programs together And having kind of worked this over the last, I don't know, 9 to 12 weeks, Rhys, I don't know how long we've been working on this in the background. Yeah, I think we've got a really good synergy between the OMI program as well as the MCP program. And the document should outline what we're thinking about and how the two will interplay over the coming quarters.
Yep, I think that's a pretty good summary. And as you said, it really brings together those who love to collect, those who use OMI, those who use both, and really just adds a few new layers to the collecting experience. Gives people a lot of chance for new strategies, I would say, in terms of making their way up the ranks to become a master collector, and that in turn will grant access to some pretty fun benefits, I suppose we're calling them.
Yeah. That's a really good point, because as these two programs come together, the benefits that we are planning to roll out over the coming quarters will benefit all collectors across the board, and it will rely on a little bit of a fun aspect between your rank, your level, and where you sit inside of the ranking tables to access certain benefits and stuff like that. So it should be quite fun as we progress through.
Yeah, exactly right. And really, it gives you a whole range of ways to earn points, basically earn master collector points. And just on that note, I mean, we're referring to this as the loyalty program, but within the application, it will be the master collector program, right? We will maintain that moniker moving forward.
Correct. The master collector program will be a merge of the two. Essentially, we'll be keeping MCP in place.
Perfect. Okay, that's probably all we want to share on that just for now until we release this information, and then we can reconvene next week or sometime in the near future and discuss. Yep.
Deeper dive. Okay, let's keep things moving on crypto pay and beta update, and also speaking of pay methods, an update on the wire situation. Mitch, can you take this one, please?
Yeah, sure. So we just got off the phone just before this call with Wire overall. They have confirmed that we will be pausing temporarily from 11:59 p.m. The 29th of March, 2013 Pacific time. So this will be, it's an unfortunate development on this front here. But Wire have confirmed overall that the integration with new banking providers is underway. And we will keep everyone updated as to what's happening on that front. Now, however, while that is the case with Wire, we will be pushing ahead and doubling our efforts on providing alternative options for payouts from an integration standpoint as quickly as we can. And we will also provide updates on that as we develop. So in the future, there will very likely be options for users to decide how or which vendor they would want to use to initiate payouts overall.
Okay, great. So to reiterate, 11:59 p.m. on March 29th Pacific time. So that's like tonight. Okay.
Correct.
Temporary pause, and we'll keep everybody updated on everybody updated on when that will be up and running again. All right. So crypto paying, then I know you're continuing to move ahead on that. Do we have just any minor events or minor updates?
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. With the situation, crypto payments is actually ready. It's already been rolled out to a 20,000 critical mass audience base and user base, and we've seen some really good results coming from it. I have chosen to withhold the release to the general population at the moment, only because of the developing situation with Wire at this stage. So once we have a little bit more clarity on the Wire front and we're a bit more confident that things are going okay, it will probably be opened up to specific to users across specific countries to start off with, to make sure that we're kind of keeping things in as controlled as possible before it goes into the ether and to the general space.
And what about payout transactions made before the deadline tonight? Those will continue to be processed.
It will continue to be processed. Correct.
All right, let's move on then to one of the things that I saw come across my desk, which was, I think, will be very exciting for people in terms of what's next in the development pipeline, and that is waitlist. Can you give us an update on waitlist?
Yes, I can. Let me see where I'm at with my notes. Okay, so quick update is that we are just prepping the next release, iteration 244. It was submitted to the Apple stores today, and it's just sitting on the approval queues on the apps. And when those come through, we will release it across the apps, both stores, Google and Android and iOS, and on web as well. And that release contains waitlist in terms of the capability. Okay, so technically we have tried to keep it inside Q1. It is still the 29th of March from various parts of the world at the moment. So the waitlist capability-wise is included in the next release. However, where we will use the waitlist is being worked through right now as its first kind of introduction to the community itself. So this functional capability is in place and will be in place in the next update. So once you do get the updates, please update the apps. Please update your apps so that you can receive the benefits of the feature itself. And when we will use the waitlist is still being worked through at the moment, but it will be probably starting with more controlled drops to start off with before it becomes more widespread in its use case.
And we mentioned
And just
be some kind of wholly owned IP, i.e. a VeVe logo or something like that, right?
I can't confirm or deny that at the moment. We're still working through that right now.
Okay. All right.
And just quickly on the waitlist, users will be able to participate regardless of whether they're on mobile or web. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Perfect. And do you want to
cross-platform?
Yeah, cross-platform. Cool.
Do we want to talk
the
about
other thing to add? One second, Alex. Just as the other things to add on the waitlist are that this is sorry to say V1 of waitlist, where we are still kind of really only going to be restricting access to the waitlist for KYC users specifically, to ensure that there is a good control over some of the more kind of pressing pain points for the community right now, which is around things like botting and all that type of stuff. But V2 actually brings not a physical or a aesthetic enhancement. Sorry, someone's at the door and my dog's going crazy, so apologies if you're hearing the dog bark. As I was saying before, V1 of waitlist is out. It's going to be restricted to KYC users, but we intend to actually roll out an enhancement to the waitlist before it actually gets used widespread across the business and across all drops, right? And V2 will really kind of contain more backend and logic-based enhancements to the waitlist, where we fully intend to kind of weight drops and priorities to KYC users specifically. Right from the get-go. So these are little snippets and nuggets of information that I'm really happy to release because we have heard you. We are watching how other partners, or not partners, how other businesses that are similar to ours are conducting waitlists, and we are making sure that we're putting in as many mechanisms as possible to address a lot of your concerns, particularly as we start to kind of loosen up the KYC processes across the app in the coming months as well. So we're kind of aligning that and trying to make that happen in tandem so that we open up the app to new users, have them access the application and explore the app easily to find content that they like, but at the same time kind of securing the concerns or addressing the concerns of how a waitlist might be exploited.
Got it. And do you want to take any time to walk through the mechanic, like how it actually works? Like, opens up X amount of time before the drop, you get in or anything like that? Has that all been fully mapped out yet?
Yeah, I mean, it's a standard waitlist process, right? the waitlist will start 30 minutes, an hour, depending on what we've set in the background. People join the waitlist as a single entry. they have X amount of time to exit the waitlist, and then the waitlist closes, exit or enter the waitlist. The waitlist closes about 5 minutes just before the drop. And then when the drop time happens, waitlist goes through a random selection of the users that are on waitlist, and it assigns you a collectible. And subsequently, you have a further 5 minutes, I think, to make a purchase. Otherwise, it gets reverted back to the pool. Anything unsold will just be, available on the store from then on.
Cool. All right. Excellent. Okay, let's keep it moving then. Thank you very much for those updates. I know that a lot of people have been asking for both updates on MCP and waitlist. Good to hear about crypto paying as well. Let's talk about some of the Q2 objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think what we want to start to do is communicate in objectives with the community moving forward. Learning from previous events, I think it's best to stay away from both, for all parties concerned, on finite deadlines. So what we will try and do is communicate what we are going to be focused on in Q2 of 2023, right? So there are 3 key objectives that we're looking to be focused on from a roadmap point of view. One is we want to bring cross-platform consistency in experiences. So as all of you will probably be quite aware, there are quite a few inconsistencies between the various experiences on web versus on app, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're going to try and do is embark on a little bit of a cleanup program to ensure that we bring the app from where it is today into the 2023 web-based standards at the very least. From an experience standpoint, and you will have a consistency of functionality, features, and design really across all platforms to start off with. So that's one of our big objectives. So that's getting cross-platform consistency across all platforms. The second objective that we will be kind of focused on in Q2 is actually OMI to NFT. So a lot of people have been asking about OMI. A lot of people have been wondering what's happening with OMI, et cetera, et cetera. It is our focus. We do want to bring that utility to the token itself, to the application. There are, however, some interesting problems that need to be solved on that front, but this is where it links to our earlier mention about bringing the MCP and OUP program together. So OMI to NFT is really a pathway for any OMI holder to acquire NFTs, starting with the secondary market, on the secondary market, using OMI itself, assuming that the person selling the NFT is willing to kind of allow that to happen as well. So the idea is for us to focus on this as a second objective within Q2 itself, and this links nicely into our MCP program overall, because what we intend to do there is really allow some degree of benefits for users using OMI to purchase NFTs. So example would be on the secondary market, if you have activated an OMI-based transaction, you will probably very likely be rewarded with one-off MCP bonus points. And that will stack to your total point accumulation for the day. And a lot of this, more of this development around how OMI will interface with MCP points and the MCP program overall will continue to be developed. We are still working on quite a few things in the background as well around how you can then leverage OMI-based benefits and how that will also then link back into your MCP point collection. But the starting point for us, guys, is really OMI to NFT. We have heard you. We have seen the feedback, and we really do want to make this a key objective for Q2 in itself. So hopefully that addresses quite a few questions around what we're doing with OMI overall. And this will be the first of several steps that we will take in that direction over the next couple of quarters.
Excellent. That's really good to hear. And I know a lot of people will be happy to hear that is, we haven't forgot about OMI, obviously.
Not at all.
No. No, we just had, I think the general sentiment is that we haven't spoken much about OMI because, one, we've been working in the background. We have been thinking about what we want to do with OMI and how we build that utility through the program. So the good news is that, for us as a product organization within VeVe itself, we have a ratified product strategy that will carry us through for the next at least 12 to 18 months. And it centers around really us kind of evolving the VeVe product quite nicely from where it is today into the direction that, closer, I call it more like, instead of just simply being a Web2 organization right from the get-go and staying there, what we want to try and do is take very methodical and measured steps towards getting, upwards towards 3, but not quite there. I think we're trying to find a balance. 2.5, maybe 2.6. I don't know. We'll see. But there is a plan. We are going to move forward with that, which will kind of mean that we will start to put a little bit more focus and emphasis on the tokenomics and the token side of things, and you will start to see that come through in the experience and how that interlays with the MCP program as well.
Yes.
Excellent. I'm going to continue. There is one more objective, so we have 3 objectives for the quarter. The third objective for us is spending MCP points. So it's all well and good to just stare at your points accumulating. All well and good to say, I'm accumulating this daily points and it's inaccurate and because we will be fighting this battle right across the next few months anyway. But we felt that, out of everything else from a priority standpoint, we want people to be able to utilize those MCP points that you've been accumulating over the last 2 years as well. So MCP points and spending MCP points will be part of our objectives. And the first cut of that will very likely be an extension of the waitlist itself. And what I mean by that is we're going to allow the expenditure of MCP points to access additional seats or waitlist entries for a user to ideally increase the probability of your drop being secured for that account and for that collector itself. And you can spend MCP points to do so. So those are the 3 objectives that we have, at least for Q2 when it comes to what our roadmap looks like. We've got cross-platform consistency. Then in no particular order, by the way, we've got OMI to NFT. And then we've got spending MCP points.
Going to be a really solid quarter, and you just touched on something there, Mitch, in no particular order. Maybe it's worth just touching on a lot of these things are starting to develop concurrently as opposed to linearly now that we're really expanding there.
Yeah, and actually, good point. Yeah. I completely just completely slipped my mind. So as Rhys mentioned, these things, we have 3 objectives. These 3 objectives. In no particular order, we are gonna try and activate them concurrently, which means the business in itself, and Dave and Dan have made a very conscious decision to really invest in our development capabilities overall. So we have the confidence of the business, of the founders, to try and activate this simultaneously. So what we're kind of moving away from is this whole idea of trying to queue things up and things happen sequentially into ideally delivering things simultaneously across various work streams.
Perfect.
All right, so a lot of exciting stuff coming. Obviously, look, everybody, we are really excited to keep moving in a regular clip here. We're really hard at work on building these teams. As Mitch just mentioned, kind of working on different things concurrently. We have a lot of things happening in the next couple of weeks, including that initial group of VeVe verse beta. We have master collector program continuing to roll out. We'll have the article outlining the changes and updates to points, levels, ranks, etc. In the coming days, and then we just outlined the Q2 objectives. So exciting stuff. We apologize, obviously what the perception is that, for some reason that we were ignoring or have no longer cared about the OMI token. That is not true. Obviously, just to reiterate what Mitch had said, we just really needed to get our heads together and figure out how to best approach, and I think we have a good plan. So, in Mitch we trust and whatnot.
No, please do not do that. There is a whole team here. There's a whole team here that is all dedicated to actually getting this VeVe program and everything that we're doing moving in the right direction, right? So it's not a single person effort. It is a team of people, and the two of you are absolutely part of this as well. And thank you for your support. But the other thing that I should mention is I've seen some notes flashing up on the left hand side here. Sorry guys, I'm trying not to get distracted by the things flowing up on the right hand side of the screen. But something to touch on is somebody's mentioned interoperability. As much as that it's not part of the Q2 objectives, it doesn't mean that we're not looking at anything blockchain and token related in the background as we plan for Q2, Q3, and Q4, right? So as Rhys alluded to earlier, we are able now to activate simultaneous streams of work, and some of those pieces of work are actually around discovery. So a lot of you would have noticed that IMX actually released updates around new capability, their partnerships with Polygon, and all that type of fun stuff. What we are looking at is how we can leverage this as well. So from an interoperability standpoint, sorry, I can't
The big word.
Interoperability. Interoperability standpoint, what we are looking at is the developments that are happening within layer 2 on IMX and how they are allowing us to use some of those capabilities to solve some of the interoperability challenges that we may have. So until we understand that thoroughly, we're not going to comment any further on that. But what I can say is that is on our agenda. We are talking about it right now already, and as we solidify what we want to do with interoperability, we will definitely communicate with everybody and keep it nice and open.
Right on.
Perfect. Between now and then, please don't when us or at us about interoperability, Sam. Like, we're working towards that those solutions as we can.
Yeah, and we'll also try to keep communication streamlined on that issue, as it has probably not have been streamlined in the past. We'll make sure that we all are aligned internally as to what our goals are with interoperability. Okay, thank you all for joining us today. That was pretty much the entirety of our updates, unless you have anything that we didn't have mapped out here in the agenda, gentlemen.
The only thing I will touch on or point people to is the videos that Corey has been putting out on VeVe YouTube. Shout out Corey, shout out everybody in the team on that side. But I mean, I know I'm personally learning a heck of a lot from those videos, and I just think they're such a great introduction to a lot of the comics we're releasing. I know there's a short clip that came out about Hulk that's on the channel as well. So if you're not aware of those videos, go check them out. Leave Corey a comment, some feedback if you want as well. It'll help us to craft that content
exactly.
as well. Alex, yeah.
Just from a marketing standpoint, it's imperative that we do create content like that to reach a new set of users, right, and become a little more discoverable as digital collectibles, NFTs, licensed IP, etc. And for SEO purposes, search anytime somebody's searching Disney NFTs, for instance, and we have are able to create videos like that or blog articles, of which we will be releasing the new blog soon on VeVe.me. But yeah, absolutely, Corey's been killing it, and it's just a matter of really warming up all of the licensors to the concept and having enough lead times to produce these things. But he's really been cranking the stuff out. So please like, subscribe, smash that like button. It helps the algorithm on YouTube. And share as much as you can, because we really would love to get more eyeballs on these things and enlighten people to all of the great content and IP that we have here on the platform. Also, from just a marketing standpoint, again, what I continue to work on is more infrastructure based and not particularly sexy. It's all about getting all of the data dashboards and CRM in place so that we can continue doing good outreach and targeted campaigns across email, paid social, etc. All of that is happening in tandem with the infrastructure kind of building out. You may have seen some of the promoted posts as of late. We're experimenting across the board on Google and on Instagram and Facebook. So that is all happening, whether you see it or not. And we're really looking forward to, as we get closer to moving KYC a little further into the user journey, onboarding journey rather, so that we can get more new users on the platform and get them using collectibles in showrooms, etc., without having to put down a passport right away. That's going to open up an entire new set of possibilities and get us a little more able to kind of do more of the kind of promo code type activations that you've seen in the past with either movie theaters or at Comic-Con, etc. Also still continuing to work on the event schedule for the year, and we'll have more details on that very soon. One thing to note on the Hulk drop for this Friday, this is the first appearance of Classic Hulk as he appeared in the 60s comic books. There will be a total of 5 Hulks, 4 dropping of different iterations of the Hulk. As you may, if you're familiar with the comics, you may be able to guess which iterations of those are. And if you collect all of them, then you will get the 5th one airdropped. So this one obviously is Classic Hulk, and you'll have to stay tuned to see what other versions of the Hulk will be coming. So single SKU to that's Friday. Sorry, yes, Friday dropping at 8 a.m. Real excited for that one. I think the animation and the sound is great, and we'll look forward to seeing what else we have in store from that Hulk series. Otherwise, still a good amount of stuff coming up in the month of April, including some more new IP. And just a reminder, on the 31st, we'll be taking that snapshot for the Gary Baseman Memento Moa pieces. If you collect both, you will get a 3rd piece airdropped. He recently opened and had a gallery opening in New Zealand called Memento Moa, and we're really excited to be part of releasing those pieces in tandem with that gallery opening. So make sure you check the Medium article and get those pieces if you want that extra airdrop. And
check out the Corey video.
Check out the Corey video with the interview with Gary himself. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Yep. So shout out to Gary Baseman and shout out to Corey for putting that together. We do have, let's see, what can I tease here? We are going to do this. Let's do this giveaway thing. So Mods Eagle, if you can help me by posting the giveaway bot in the live event stage chat. All you got to do is really click the emoji, and we will pick 5 winners to gift one of the transformational potions that dropped today that you can use to either hold on to or redeem for a corresponding poster to your Platinum Moments collectible. I'm giving away 5 of those, so please head to the live event chat, scroll up to where we posted that bot, because I see the activity is going ham right now, and click on that emoji to enter. And it's as simple as that. We really appreciate everybody sticking around today for the updates. Keep an eye out on the socials for links to the updated articles for MCP and any information regarding further rollouts, including that waitlist update that is being pushed to app stores now. We'll have more information on how that exactly will roll out in the coming days to weeks as soon as Dan is back in town from his travels. And then I think that's about it. All I have to tease for now. Got some more DC coming up, some more Star Wars, some more Disney, some more USPS.
Just drop a fire out here.
A lot of good stuff coming. Anyway,
you might be getting epilepsy from the
chat. Yeah, I was not taking a photo. Hey,
it's triggering me.
All right.
Just
thank you.
Just one note while that's happening, guys, because I saw everybody yelling exchange in the chat as well. Yes, of course, exchanges are a priority and part of this kind of rollout strategy. We don't control when listings go live, but just in case people aren't aware, as soon as you engage with an exchange, we're under non-disclosures that you can't really talk about any of the details or any of those conversations. So we will never pre-announce or pre-hype any sort of listing, and obviously you'll see it when they go live. But until those days,
Can I just add on to that, right, guys? So with regards to the exchanges, I mean, as we said, we're always working towards that, but I think a lot of our focus in Q3 is going to make us a little bit more of a interesting kind of listing on these exchanges moving forward. But we want to really focus on the utility side of Omi to start with. The good stuff around the exchanges will probably happen in the coming quarters, and we're just looking at where we go with that one overall. But it's about really just making the token a little bit more useful right from the beginning, and then starting to build on the usefulness of the token right across the coming quarters.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, again, thank you, everybody. We appreciate all your patience given some of this week's hiccups, and we promise to continue to hold these on a regular basis to get everybody updated, streamline communication across the board. And look, I've been very impressed with the way things are going as of late, and I'm looking forward to kind of taking all of you with us on this journey as we continue to build and build and build. So that said, we're going to end it here. Good luck to everybody who entered in the giveaway bot. We will be contacting you directly when we close that down. I think Eagle, how long do we got on there? Like maybe 15 minutes? Let's say to the top, maybe 3
to the top of the hour even.
Or top of the hour. Yeah, it's 2:55 now, so 5 more minutes. You got 5 more minutes to enter. All right, you got to scroll all the way up in that live event stage to find the giveaway.
Good luck. Yeah.
All right,
Eagle, if you're listening, I don't know if that bot can be dropped elsewhere and have the same comp, but maybe post somewhere else if that is the case. Otherwise, just scroll up there, guys, and good luck. Thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank you very much, everybody. Talk to you next time.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
If you want a VeVe fam, give the whole stream a like, then see this stream more people. And yes, now thanks for watching and see you in the next live stream or video. Goodbye, your captain.